Hey everyone, John here, and a demo for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is now available on the Switch 2 eShop for you to download. And this is a beefy demo. You get to experience the more linear sections, a big bustling town, the major open world. There's a lot to really put this game through its paces, and so I've decided to play through the entire demo, compare it to PlayStation 5, test the frame rate, and see exactly how good this is and where the drawbacks are. Now, it's worth noting that on a base PlayStation 5, which is the main comparison point we're making here, the game doesn't particularly have great image quality and looks very soft the vast majority of the time. We're using the sharp performance mode here, but there are three options. There's the 30 FPS quality mode, which looks the best, and then there's performance mode sharp and performance mode smooth, which are both very similar, only I tend to prefer sharp. And considering this is the way I'd probably play on PS5, we're going to be using this for the comparisons against Switch 2. So PS5 is going to be 60 FPS, whereas Switch 2 is going to hit a max of 30 FPS. But as you can see in just general comparison shots, they look very, very close. Switch 2 is of course using DLSS to achieve any of this, and you get the general artifacts that come with that. And so things like hair can sometimes look quite poor in certain shots, but the vast majority of the time, it looks okay. I also noticed that some scenes have visual noise from DLSS, and so you can see on the stairs and on the walls over here, there's a lot of noise which just isn't apparent on PS5. But this is only really obvious when zooming in. For the most part though, what they've achieved here is miraculous. You've got a game that was built from the ground up for PlayStation 5 and has trouble running perfectly on PS5, and somehow it's running on Switch 2, looking as good as it does and running as well as it does. Now, that's not to say that performance is fantastic across the board. There are definitely issues, and one major one is the frame pacing. There are plenty of poor frame pacing spikes just throughout regular gameplay, and the frame rate doesn't hold up all the time. Most of the time you're looking at something between 28 and 30 FPS, even in the big open world, and it's very impressive it can maintain that for something as ambitious as this. But there definitely are scenes that really stress FF7 Rebirth on Switch 2. For instance, in Calm, there's one corner over here that's going to force Switch 2 all the way down to 20 FPS. The majority of this town runs pretty well, there's definitely dips elsewhere, but this one corner really does stress the game, and it's definitely not a fluke. You can revisit this part as many times as you want, and it's always going to run pretty poorly. But when it comes to the combat and the cutscenes and general exploration, you're mostly looking at around 30 FPS with some frame pacing problems. Definitely does dip, but for what it is, it's pretty crazy this is even running at all, as well as it does. But there are cutbacks to achieve this beyond just the resolution and the frame rate, and something that stands out very jarringly when putting the two side by side are the background props. So when you go to a house, for instance, and you look at the general dressing, so you look at what's on the shelves, what's on the walls, what's on the tables, things are just kind of gone on Switch 2. Cloud got very hungry at this table and ate everything, including the vase and the flowers. And it's interesting exactly what they decide to cut back and what they don't. So in Tifa's room up here, they've taken all the books off the bookshelf, they've taken her cowboy hat away, and even when you're playing piano, the poster's been taken off the wall. Was that poster causing a lot of stress on the Switch 2? I don't know, but it's gone. They do still keep some background props, especially the important ones. But it is strange to see exactly what they decide to take away and what they keep. Another issue in one instance in particular is the pop-in. So on PlayStation 5, when you're doing the opening credits, you get this very lush scene with grass everywhere. And there are a few pop-in issues even on PlayStation 5. But on Switch 2, it's just being drawn incredibly close to the camera. And so you get a scene that looks pretty big on PlayStation 5. It just comes across as empty on Switch 2. Now, this isn't helped by the camera being drawn back and putting more of an emphasis on this, but in other big scenes, like the open world, which comes a bit later on Switch 2, it is nowhere near as noticeable. They have made the grass less lush and less busy than it would be on PlayStation 5, but the pop-in is nowhere near as egregious as it was in the prior scenes, so you can go through most of the game without there really being that jarring, just immediate pop-in with no fade just coming into existence. That's mostly just to that original opening scene. But you do need to keep into account the context of what this game is, and the fact that it's running on Switch 2 in the first place is incredible. Even in handheld mode, it looks really, really good. Of course, the resolution is lower there, and you will notice that a lot more than you would have in Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrate, but it is still looking great. And Rebirth is a lot more free and open than Remake was, and so there's many parts of this game that are really going to thrive on a portable. Being able to play Queen's Blood anywhere? That's rad. So I'm very impressed by Final Fantasy VII Rebirth on the Switch 2. In terms of general image quality, it does rival PlayStation 5 until you notice the DOSS looking hair, but everything else is very, very close. And while there are some performance issues, that is to be expected, and there are drawbacks in certain places, but it still delivers the core FF7 Rebirth, and is one of the biggest technical showcases the Switch 2 has so far. Anyway, we're going to play a few more comparisons and a few more frame rate tests, so enjoy everybody, and I will catch you next time. Bye-bye!
My dad died when I was a kid, so after I left for Midgard, she was on her own. It was the first time we'd seen each other in 2 years. First time, and last.
I'll be right there. Cloud, is that you?
Hey,
Welcome home. Come in. Let me get a good look at you. My. So that's what they've got you wearing, huh? You soldiers sure do clean up nice. I've never been so proud.
back, all the signs were there. From the moment we arrived, Sephiroth just wasn't himself. What you looking at?
This landscape.
Huh?
I could swear I've seen it before.
You okay?
Big day tomorrow. We'll be leaving bright and early. You should get some rest.
All right, will do.
Night.
Washing machine.
So, what's new with you?
I heard this out.
Need something for the kids?
Our ice cream is made with topped with a generous helping of